Let's continue with our discussion of The Corporation in the 21st Century by Sir John Kay. Today is the fourth part of our interpretation. In the previous parts, we reviewed the historical development of the corporation. We've seen that many people still cling to 19th century ideas, but modern business can no longer be explained by those outdated theories. Today, let's get straight to the heart of the matter. What exactly is business? Especially, how do you make money in modern business? I believe the question of how to make money is fundamental. Even if you don't run a company, whether you're an individual or an investor, you must understand where money comes from. Only then can you choose the right companies and help shape the right kind of society. So, how does business make money? Let's start with an example. In British football history, there was a legendary player named Stanley Matthews. Active around the 1950s, he was known as the Wizard of the Dribble and the Magician. He won the inaugural Ballon d'Or in 1956 and was knighted while still an active player. A role model for many stars that followed. But what was Matthews' income like? In 1948, Matthews played for England against Scotland, in front of over 130,000 spectators. His appearance fee? £14. Equivalent to about £500 today. The Football Association reimbursed his train ticket, but not the cup of tea he bought at the station. Despite being a national hero, Matthews' income wasn't much higher than that of an average Briton at the time. Fast forward to today. At his peak in 2017, Lionel Messi signed a contract with Barcelona, worth €650,000 per week, excluding bonuses and endorsements. To put this in perspective, most Europeans don't earn that much in a whole year. Not even 1/10 of it. Both were football superstars. So why the massive income gap? Would Matthews, had he become a football executive, have felt that today's players are overpaid? Is the market distorted? Is Messi's salary fair? A better way to think about this is, do we want a market where someone like Messi can earn a lot? Or a market where star players only earn slightly more than the average person? My guess is that even if you're not Messi, you'd still prefer the former. Messi earns more, because he reaches a far larger audience than Matthews ever could, thanks to television broadcasting. Considering the joy fans receive, the amount each individual contributes to Messi's income isn't very much at all. Once you understand this, the question isn't about fairness. It's about how to become like Messi. To make money, you must create value. But what is value, exactly? Economists still debate this. Early thinkers often saw value as an objective concept, something measurable by labor. For example, Marx said value is socially necessary labor time embodied in a commodity. This is a complex idea. Even Marx knew that value wasn't determined just by how hard you work. He added the socially necessary part to suggest that value has a social dimension, though he couldn't clearly define what that was. It's not Marx's fault. Adam Smith and David Ricardo also believed value came from labor. But labor theory can't explain the huge difference between Messi and Matthews. Their work and talent aren't vastly different. Similarly, why are Leonardo da Vinci's paintings worth millions more than those of a typical artist? Clearly, labor alone doesn't determine value. If you fully believe in the labor theory of value, you'd likely pursue a trade, relying on technical skill to earn. But you'll never make serious money that way. Later economists argued that value is subjective. It exists only in the minds of consumers. A painting is worth however much someone is willing to pay for it, regardless of how hard it was to create. But this view also has problems. Adam Smith already pointed out the paradox of water and diamonds. Water is essential to life, diamonds are decorative. Yet diamonds are more expensive. Why? Because diamonds are harder to obtain, requiring much more labor and capital. So labor still matters. The debate continues. But according to Sir John Kay, the answer has long existed. In the late 19th century, economists began to propose a middle ground. British economist Alfred summed it up beautifully in his 1890 book, Principles of Economics. We might as reasonably dispute whether it is the upper or lower blade of a pair of scissors that cuts a piece of paper as whether the value is governed by utility or cost. The secret of business lies in this pair of scissors. Let's clarify a few concepts. Your economic activity doesn't create absolute value. You add value. Air, for example, has absolute value. But you can't increase it. The value you add is jointly determined by subjective and objective factors. Marshall called the subjective value utility, how much the consumer benefits. The objective side is cost, how much it takes to provide that value. Sir John Kay explains that what you can charge, your economic rent, is simply economic rent equals utility cost. But note, cost here isn't what you spend on the activity. It's your opportunity cost. The price someone would pay for your labor if you did something else with the same effort and skill. Take Messi. If he weren't a footballer, maybe he'd be a talented office worker, earning €2,000 per week. That's his opportunity cost. His economic rent? €650,000, €2,000, equals €648,000 per week. Ordinary wages are making a living. Economic rent is making money. If a company only provides average services, it must survive on low prices. It earns no economic rent. This concept of economic rent is deeply insightful. To earn economic rent, you must meet 3 conditions. 1. Your market must be large enough. If you wash dishes while your spouse cooks, that's a fair exchange. No economic rent. You need to sell your labor many times over to earn rent. Messi earns more than Matthews, because Messi's market is the whole world. Matthews' market was just a stadium crowd. 2. The market must be competitive. In a competitive market, high performers are in demand. Modern football is exactly this. Clubs worldwide compete for talent, driving up wages. In a non-competitive market, say, if clubs followed a family inheritance system, even the most talented players couldn't enter. The result? Lower pay. Competitive markets are also inclusive. Anyone with talent can rise, regardless of nationality, race, or background. But beware. You don't want perfect competition either. Because in that case, everything gets copied quickly, and profits vanish. Economic textbooks often romanticize perfect competition, but it's actually the imperfections in markets that allow profits and innovation. 3. You must have a unique and scarce ability. If your skills can't be easily copied, you can collect economic rent for a time. That's why there's only one Messi. Many companies do AI today, but OpenAI consistently delivers new breakthroughs, despite no obvious technical moat. Everyone has tech, but OpenAI has some kind of magic. Where does that magic come from? How do you increase your scarcity and irreplaceability? First, you need a drive to compete, a hunger to be better and to offer unique value. If your goal is just to hang out at work and serve the local community, you're not going to earn economic rent. But more importantly, you need a great team. Messi's talent isn't just innate. It was developed by Barcelona FC, shaped by top coaches, and supported by generations of accumulated football knowledge. Behind that is Barca's unique training system. In reality, every extraordinary thing has collective intelligence behind it. What Kay calls collective knowledge. Modern society, from electricity to airplanes, even a perfect-looking apple, is the product of generations of accumulated wisdom from countless individuals. This isn't just the division of labor Adam Smith talked about. In basic division of labor, each person is replaceable. But when you possess part of a company's collective knowledge, you are not replaceable. Collective knowledge isn't what's in textbooks. Anthropologist Joseph Henrich, in The Secret of Our Success, argues that humans succeed as a species because of collective intelligence. We learn not just from personal experience, but from others, and improve on it. Kids often ask, who invented electricity? The airplane? The steam engine? These aren't single-moment, single-person breakthroughs. Innovation is built by many people, over time. Adam Smith described the learning curve. The more you do something, the better you get. But in modern business, it's not just personal learning curves. It's the experience curve of entire organizations. For instance, Boeing found that as they increased aircraft production, unit costs dropped by 15% every time output doubled. That's not just because workers became more skilled. It's because Boeing, as a company, accumulated collective knowledge. This kind of knowledge is hard to replicate. That's why Boeing can charge economic rent. Once you understand that profit comes from economic rent, you realize a company's true value doesn't lie in its machines or factories, which can be bought, but in its people. As Alfred once said, the most valuable of all capital is that invested in human beings. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.